Hey everybody, welcome back to Fifield Junction and welcome to another review for you. Today's one, as we can see, we've got another steam locomotive for us today, but this one is a Hornby one, and it's been quite a while since I've looked at a Hornby steam locomotive. I can't actually remember what the last one I looked at was, to be honest. I think it actually, no, I think it might have been the, was it the Castle class that I looked at a while ago? Kidwelly Castle. I think that might have been the last steam locomotive that I looked at from Hornby, but it's definitely been a while since I looked at one, so it's quite nice that we've got another one for us today. And as we can see, today's loco, it is the schools class that we've got for us today, also known as the Southern Railway V class, I believe as well. And this particular model came from Worley, came from the very well known, as I'm sure most of you know about it. If you don't know Worley, you definitely need to go. It's an absolutely fantastic show, happens every year at the end of November. Really nice exhibition, absolutely fantastic. Lots to see, lots of layouts, lots of traders. Definitely worth the visit, and it was on about 2 weeks ago now, well, exactly 2 weeks ago when I'm filming this video anyway, is when the show was. And this is one of the locomotives that I picked up from that show. It wasn't the only locomotive that I picked up, but it's one of the, well, it's the only other locomotive that I picked up, so I only ended up buying two. But yeah, this is one of the models that I came away from the exhibition with. And I'm very happy about that. It's a very nice locomotive. I've been looking at getting one of these for absolutely ages, but it's just taken a while to get around to one. Now, I probably could have gotten one a lot cheaper than I paid for this one. However, it's not too bad. I got it for £185, I believe it was, which I think, well, for a model of this age, probably a bit too much, but come on, it's sound fitted. And this particular one is practically immaculate as well, to be honest. Certainly looking at the box, it's definitely been looked after very well by its previous owner. So yeah, I probably could have waited because these do come up quite a bit cheaper than that. So I have seen them quite a bit cheaper. But however, they've not been quite as perfect. Maybe various little issues here and there. But overall, can't complain. I've got I've got the locomotive, haven't I? And it's been one that I'm looking at getting for ages. So yeah, that's that, I suppose. But the model in real life, the locomotive in real life, wow, the schools class, a very nice locomotive, a very beautiful locomotive, I think. Quite unique, quite elegant. Well, I say unique, it's probably not that unique, but a very elegant steam locomotive, I think. Absolutely love the look of this, and very beautiful. Which they only built 40 of them, so they didn't build too many of them, and they were built between 1930 and 1935. They are essentially a cut down version of the Lord Nelson class, I believe it was, because I'm sure, as you can probably tell, they do probably resemble them a little bit. But they also incorporated parts from the King Arthur class as well, I believe it was. I think one of those parts of being in the firebox, actually, because I believe having the firebox from the King Arthur class, it actually helped these, I believe, with route availability in terms of loading gauge and stuff, which I suppose was quite helpful. They were withdrawn between 1961 and 1962, and we've only got 3 left, which is a bit of a shame, but I suppose it's not too bad, really. I mean, come on, only 40 built, and we've got 3 of them left. I don't think that's too bad going, is it, really? I mean, compared to other locomotives where they built hundreds of them, and they've only kept like 1 or 2, or even none in some cases. So overall, I suppose not too bad, really. And I believe at least one of them is still going at the moment, as far as I know. I think there's one on the North Yorkshire Moors Railway, which is actually mainline certified, but only for a very small section of the mainline, I believe it is. Literally around the local area, I believe it's certified to run on the mainline, which is quite cool. I suppose it'd be nice if they could get it certified so that it could run anywhere in the UK. But at least it's still going, and the other 2, I believe, are in various stages of restoration, or at least being restored or whatever. So yeah, overall, a very nice locomotive, I think. They were the last 440 ever built as well. So that's, I suppose, one thing, last ever 440 ever built. And they were also the strongest 440 built as well in Europe, not just the UK, but apparently the strongest 440 in Europe. So that's quite cool. So obviously very strong. I'm not entirely sure what the classification of these is. 5p, you can see it says there. So these were classified 5p. I mean, that's quite strong to be honest for a 440. Considering obviously it's only 2 sets of driving wheels. 5p, not too bad. So pretty well going, I think. I'm sure you can agree. Very good going for a locomotive of that configuration. But the model in real life, well, I keep saying real life, the model itself, this particular one, the sound fitted version that we've got here, it's, as you can see, digital sound fitted. This model is quite old now. It's getting on 15 years at least, I believe, this model now. However, that old she may be, she definitely doesn't show it, as you'll see in a minute when we open her up. She's definitely not showing her age. It's definitely living up to modern standards quite well. But if you want one of these schools class locos from Hornby, they've done quite a few of them. It's not just this one. They've done regular versions as well. They've been doing this model, well, not just this particular tooling, but just the loco in general. I think they've been doing it for quite a number of years now. It goes back quite far. But I'm not sure if they've done one for a while, actually. I don't know what the most recent version of the schools class is that they've done. But I'm pretty sure Hornby haven't done it for a while. So if they were to bring it back, it'd be nice to have it back with some upgrades, such as flicking firebox, maybe updated decoder sockets, a bit more detail. But certainly as it is, certainly this model as well, I can't really complain because, as you'll see in a moment, it is a very nice model. But anyway, if we look on the end of the box, we can see this exact one. So the model code for this one is R2898XS. That's just for the sound fitted. So it's a BR440 schools class. This one is 30909. It's named St. Paul's. And all of them were named, obviously being schools class. So I'm pretty sure they probably got their name due to the fact that all of them were named after schools or public schools or whatever, something like that. So that's probably where they partially got their schools class name from. And then we can see they're obviously with sound decoder fitted, so DCC decoder fitted, 21-pin lock sound V3.5 decoder in the tender, and a speaker obviously. Otherwise, without a speaker, it's not going to play much sound, is it? And it's the same also on the sticker there. If we flip it over, we can see here, so you've got the schools class, obviously classification there. And then you've got some history there on the locos in real life. So it's pretty much probably what I just said. So you can see it introduced between 1930 and 1935. I think that's the highest recorded speed there, 95 miles an hour. Not too bad, nice and fast. And then we can see there more information. Then it goes down, you can see about the withdrawal and 1961, 1962. And there's also information there about this exact one. So we can see there it's so this one's fine British Railways ownership, so that's quite nice. Well, I suppose this one's in the BR livery, and you can see there BR black. So I'm sure it, well, I hope it survived. And then it was remained in service until it was withdrawn in 1962. And this one isn't one of the preserved ones, I believe. I'm pretty sure this one was scrapped, unfortunately. But again, we've still got the other three that are still here, which is quite nice. So it's not too much of a shame. But anyway, yeah, overall, that's that. So quite a bit of history there about them. Very successful locos overall, I think. But anyway, I need to open her up and have a look. So it's the typical sort of old style Horn packaging here. So we've got to take the sleeve off, and then we've got the typical sort of box inside. You can see there. Let's open it up so we can see it's the typical sort of split foam style packaging from around this time. Oh, sorry, it's not the camera. Not a lot of room in here getting these locos out of these boxes. There we go, and we just lift up that bit of white cardboard there, and we can see the logo starting to show through there. We've got the instructions first, so we'll have a quick look at those. There we go, so we can see here, so we've got the operating instructions for the schools class 440 steam locomotive and tender, DCC ready or DCC sound fitted. So we've got the general stuff, as we can see, so general stuff for running in routine maintenance, so all the stuff that we're used to. Have a look inside. So you can see there more about lubrication, so where to put the oil, you don't need much. Accessories, I'm pretty sure the detail bag on this hasn't been opened yet, so we can have a look at those in a moment. Close coupling, so you've got a close coupling option there, so it just looks like you just unscrew the drawbar, then you can close couple the loco and tender a bit more, which is quite nice. Obviously you won't want to do that if you're using tight radius curves. And they've got a bit there about assembly, so plugging the loco and tender together. And yeah, as you can see, it is the typical sort of plug-in methods that Hornby used at this time. I think they even still use it so today to some extent. But you can see there it's a 4-pin plug that plugs into the tender. It is quite fiddly to do with these, and this loco in particular, because it has already been out and I've already tested it and just given it a quick service and quick program. But the wires between the loco and tender on this, whilst they are in terms of length suitable so that you can't really see them when the loco is running, and they're definitely not going to get caught or anything, when you're trying to plug the two together, it is a bit fiddly because there isn't an awful lot of play between the wires once they're coupled together. But it is doable, just need to be patient. A bit about body removal, so it looks like one screw at the front underneath the front bogie, and then is it 2 screws at the back? Okay, no, that's for the tender. So to get the tender body off, it looks like it's 2 screws, and then that comes out. So I'm guessing it's just the one screw on the front then to get the body off on the loco. So turn the locomotive upside down and remove the assembly screw as shown in figure 9. Yeah, you can see there. Carefully turn the locomotive the right way up and ease the chassis down, gently pulling forward to disengage the rear chassis lug from the rear of the body. Okay, so it's just one screw at the front, and then you just lever the front of the chassis down, and then the chassis should slide out the body. Okay, fair enough. That's quite useful. Probably be useful for the future when I come to service the thing again. Then we can see there a bit about DCC ready and sound fitted. So if you have one of the regular DCC ready versions of the schools class, it's just the 8-pin socket inside the tender, it seems. And then if you've got one of these sound fitted versions like me here, you can see it's the 21-pin decoder sockets in the tender, and obviously you've got the 21-pin chip fitted into the tender from the factory. So that's good. And then more on the back, we can see there, so brake rods, fitting those. Looks like there that when this loco is brand new, it's got those typical sort of lugs there screwed onto the bottom of the loco to secure it into the box. That's fair enough. They're quite typical for a lot of locos from this age, I believe, with Hornby. They're not just steam locomotives, they're diesels as well. And then more usual stuff there. We're not really interested in that. Okay, fair enough. So next thing, obviously very important, we've got the actual instructions for the sound chip inside the loco. And again, this all just list the usual stuff. So we've got CVs, various CVs for programming them. And we've also got the list of sounds in here somewhere as well. I did see them earlier. Yeah, there we go. So you've got the list of sounds there just in the middle. Not an awful lot of sound, but certainly plenty of sound to get some decent sound and some decent running from the loco. And as you'll hear later, it is a pretty decent sound file. And most of these are, well, I'd say most of them, pretty much all of these are older Hornby factory sound locos. Sound files usually are very good. So that's nice. And there we go, we can now see the loco there. So she's very nicely secured inside the polystyrene. You can see the plug there coming out from the back of the loco. And then we've got the tender. So if we just, actually before we slide this off, we'll have a quick look at the detail bag here if you forgot about it. So I don't know if this has even been removed from the box, to be honest. I think it might have still be taped in place as it was in the factory. But there we go. So we can see inside there, you can see the brake rigging inside there at the bottom. Then we've got some steps. I think we've got some pipes there as well, which have been painted. That's quite nice. I'm guessing those are the cylinder drain cocks, I think, they're there. And we've got some other details in there as well, some hoses and other bits in there. So that's quite nice. If you want to fit those, then you can. I doubt, well, I might fit some of them at a later date, but for the moment I won't bother with them. But at least we got them, so that's nice. Got some decent amount of accessories. So now we just got to take this off. It's quite tight on this loco. Definitely the tightest I've seen. There we go. But at least the loco is not going to be rattling around inside the packaging very easily. There we go. Got those off, and then we can take off this bit of plastic at the front. Come on. There we go. It's a bit of a tight fit as well. And then we can just lift up the polystyrene. Be nice and careful. There we are. And then we can grab the loco and the tender. So I'll take both out for the moment, and then we can put the packaging to one side. There we are. So we'll stick the tender to one side for the moment as well, and we'll have a look at the loco first. So there we are. So as we can see, as I said earlier, old she might be, but showing her age, definitely not. Definitely with the detail, this could quite easily rival several, well, I say several, probably quite a lot of Hornby's more modern releases today. As you can see, it's an absolutely beautiful model. The decoration is very, very nice. You can see the lining in there on the boiler has been done very well. Can't see any issues with it. You've even got some very nice piping on the side. I think is that a little bit of glue on the side, or it's just a mark? I think it might be a bit of dust or something on the side there. I don't think that's anything bad. Yeah, she is got a little bit of dust on her, so she might have been a bit of a good dust off, but overall not too bad. You can see the nameplate there, and I believe this nameplate, when I checked this the other day, I believe that nameplate and the splasher itself, I believe that is solid metal. It does feel made of metal, which is nice. Yeah, that's definitely made of metal, which is nice. That's a very nice quality feature, nice metal nameplate. This reverser rod, I believe this is the reverser behind there though, is just made of plastic, and as you can see, it's very, very flimsy. I'm not sure why they did that, to be honest. Considering how long it is, it's probably one of the longest reverser rods I've seen on a loco, and to us probably one of the longest on any loco. I'm not sure why they didn't make that. It's out of metal because it is very, very flimsy. Don't get me wrong, it looks okay, but in term quality wise, if you catch that at the wrong angle, you'll quite easily damage that, which is a bit of a shame really, because you don't really want details like that to be very flimsy. but unfortunately it is. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but at least it's separately fitted, which is nice. You can see all the detail there on the running plate. It looks very good as well. I believe there's even some valve gear representation there in between the frames. It's not, I don't know if you can see it. It might just be wires coming from the leaning bogie, because there are pickups on the front bogie here to help her with continuity. So it might just be that. Yeah, I think it is. I think that's just the chassis and everything inside there. But to be honest, from a distance, it does actually look like valve gear, if you can see what I mean. Hopefully you can see what I mean. But yeah, it's not just a gigantic sort of plain void in between the frames there, which is quite nice. Obviously, we have seen better, and there are better models out there with the valve gear in between the frames. But as it is, overall, whether it's there or not, I think that kind of does look okay, to be honest. The buffers are sprung. They're quite stiff buffers on this Loco, but they feel very good, and they're nicely made of metal as well. The smoke deflectors are very nice. Again, just made of plastic, but they've been very nicely applied. Can't see any glue anywhere, so that's quite good. You've got some handrails down the side, nice metal handrails, and they feel very quality as well. On the top of the boiler and the smoke box, very, very nice. You've got a nice, very big chimney there, and there's a bit of room inside there. You might be able to fit a smoke generator inside there. I'm sure it's possible. I think there is I think that's just a load of weight there inside the boiler. But I'm sure with if you've got the skills and you've got the tools, you might be able to get a smoke generator inside there, which would look quite good as she's running. In terms of a metal boiler, it is. I can't believe that. Yes, the boiler is made of metal. I thought it was just filled with metal, but no. Feeling at least the safety valve dome here, which is part of the moulding, I believe, for the boiler. Yeah, you've got metal boiler, a solid die-cast boiler on this model. How many modern steam locomotives from Hornby and even Bachmann don't have a die-cast boiler? And here we've got a Loco that's 15 years old, and we've got a die-cast boiler. What does that tell you? Is the smoke box metal as well? I'm not too sure actually. Is there actually a join between the two? I think there might be, but I'm not too sure. Yes, there is. I can feel sort of a transition. Where the boiler's die-cast, you can feel it's quite cold to the touch. But as I go onto the smoke box here, yeah, that's definitely plastic. But you know, still, that's fine. Still, a die-cast boiler, that's amazing, especially on a model this old. I can't believe that. That's absolutely amazing. And it does help with the weight, because this model is heavy. She is a very heavy Loco, so she's not going to have any trouble hauling your stock. However, she does cheat, because unfortunately, despite Hornby having all of this weight with the die-cast boiler and everything, this model does use traction tyres, as you can see. On the driving wheels here, as you can see, these are the driven ones, because you can see the bit there where the gear's underneath. This model does use traction tyres, and that is a massive shame. A real shame. When I saw that, I was really, really annoyed. When I first opened the Loco and saw those traction tyres, I was annoyed, because I thought, why? This is a premium, high-quality Loco from Hornby, and again, you've got a die-cast boiler, so you've got loads of weight there. So why does this model need traction tyres? I mean, come on, it weighs enough. Surely it's going to be fine. It's going to cope well without those traction tyres. But Hornby have fitted them, which is a real shame, because it does not need them. It really doesn't. The model weighs so much. I don't know why they fitted them, so it's a real shame. However, if we look over that, gloss over that, we can see elsewhere on the model, it's still absolutely amazing. And the cab as well, I'm sure you've probably noticed it already, but look at that cab. That is fantastic. You can see loads of detail inside there. Again, I don't think a lot of brand new steam locomotives from the likes of Hornby and even other manufacturers have cabs as good as this. It's just amazing. One of the cab windows there, as you can see, is missing. You can see the one there has got its glazing, but the one on this side is missing. And don't worry, I have got it. I actually found it the other day. I don't think I found it straight away when I opened the Loco for the first time. However, the cab window there, it has just come out, I think, but again, the model is quite old, so the glue might have dried up, so I'm not going to mark it down for that, because I think it's probably just down to age, and there's not an awful lot of excess plastic around the window itself for there to really be glued in. As you can see, there's not a lot of excess plastic around the window that's visible on the outside for you to basically glue the window in. so there probably wasn't an awful lot of glue holding the window in the first place, to be honest. However, well, it's not, well, I suppose it's a little bit annoying, but I can glue that back in no problem. I probably should have done it before the review, really, but I thought it probably would have looked a little bit messy. So I've just left it out. But yeah, it's definitely not a quality issue with the Loco. I think that's just down to age. It's just where the glue's dried out. But overall, I think you can agree with me. This is a fantastic Loco from Hornby. Apart from the traction tyres, that's definitely going to lose a point for that. Apart from the traction tyres, overall it's a fantastic Loco. Really nice detail, loads of weight, die-cast boiler. Overall, I don't think you can ask for much more. It's a fantastic Loco, and again, as you'll see later, she does run well. A very nice performer. I'm not entirely sure what motor is inside this Loco, but my main guess would be it's probably the typical sort of 5-pole motor inside here that Hornby used in a lot of their Locos and probably still use today. I don't know if there's any flywheel inside here. I doubt it, but still, overall, I don't think it's that bad of a mechanism inside here. And it does show through in her performance again. Actually does run quite well. But yeah, overall, absolutely fantastic. You've even got the little sort of hatch there that goes down onto the back of the tender, and it does move a bit as well. I don't know if it should, but it's got some nice movement to it. So that's quite nice. And then you can see there, we've got the connection there for the tender. Wouldn't say it's the best in the world, because it's not a very permanent one. But it does the job, I suppose. And then you've got the plug there as well, obviously, to connect the electrics between the Loco and tender. So yeah, overall, not too bad. Overall, a very nice Loco. Definitely one of the best Hornby Locos. Well, I say Hornby Locos. Definitely one of the best, if not the best, steam Loco I have in terms of the quality and the weight, I think, and the detail. Really can't fault it. It's very, very nice. But anyway, we'll put the Loco to one side and we'll have a quick look at the tender. So here we are. Obviously, much lighter the tender. You have to ignore my fingerprints getting marks on it. But the tender itself, overall, it's not too bad. The coal load is removable. Oh, just bent that pipe there. I don't want to do that. I have to say pipe. It's a little stand, I think, for the tools, for the fireman's tools. But you've got a nice coal load, which is removable. So if you want to take it out, then you can. And it slots in quite nicely into the tender. You can see it slots through that gap at the front there. Obviously, where the fireman would collect the coal from. But overall, not too bad. A decent looking coal load, I think. The livery application on the tender is very, very nice. All the lining's done well, and you've got the British Railways logo there, the Lake Crest, I believe that is, looking very nice. Again, all the dust marks. On the back of the tender, you've got some very nice detail. You've got a nice vacuum pipe there. You've got the hook there for the chain link coupling. I don't think there's any included in the Loco. I don't remember seeing any in the detail bag. However, it's nice that we've got a hook there at least, which is good. Again, more sprung buffers, very nice metal sprung buffers. And then you've got the slimline tension lock coupling, which I believe is a NEM coupling, if I just hold the coal load in. Yeah, there we go. We've got a nice NEM pocket there with the NEM coupling fitted. And then you have got tender pickups on this Loco. Hopefully you can just see at least there. You've got some very nice tender pickups on the Loco. So overall, in terms of continuity with the track, it's very, very good. You've got all tender wheels picking up. Then on the Loco, every single wheel on the Loco has pickups as well. But obviously the ones with the traction tyres aren't really going to pick up very well. But at least every single wheel on the Loco does have a pickup on it. So yeah, reliability wise, you really shouldn't be seeing any issues with this Loco in terms of cutting out. As long as you look after it. If you don't look after it, then after a while you probably will see some issues. But yeah, overall, I definitely can't complain about the number of pickups, especially with all wheels having pickups on them. Really can't complain. You can just about see in there the speaker there. It's a nice, decent sized sort of round speaker inside the Loco, which again is very typical of these older Hornby factory sound Locos. And you've got the little plug there, with a little socket, I suppose, for the plug to go into for the Loco and tender. You've got some nice sanding pipes as well on the chassis there. The spring detail on the side, it's okay. It's not too bad. I think we have seen better, but it does the job. It's all been nicely moulded. Overall, can't really complain. I would say that these details on the top of the tender, though, you have to be really careful of. Because obviously, as I said a minute ago, I did nearly damage one. You can see how flimsy they are. They're really, really flimsy stuff. I think it would be nice if they were metal, but they probably would have been. Well, I wouldn't say they've been very chunky if they were made of metal. I would have thought they probably would be fine if they were made of metal, and they probably could mould them to be this size. but it would be nice, I think, if they had been made of metal, because they are so delicate. And also there's nothing really protecting them. There's nothing sort of higher up than those. They're basically the highest thing on the tender, so they are going to be very easily damaged if you do catch them, unfortunately. But I suppose, again, the flexibility could be good, because it then may stop them from getting damaged. It may stop them from getting completely bent and broken off, because they got some durability in them. I'm not too sure, but still, personally for me, I think it would have been nice if they were metal. But apart from that, overall, there isn't really anything majorly wrong with the tender. It's a nice tender. It's got okay amount of weight to it, so you shouldn't have any derailing issues with it. Overall, can't really complain. Overall, very nice. So overall, I think in conclusion there with the detail, overall, I think it's a very nice loco. I'm sure you can agree. She looks the part. She definitely has the weight to haul whatever you want. So overall, I think so far it's looking very good. Here's the valve. I think I just noticed there's the valve gear there bent, or is it just me? No, it's just me. I think it's just where I was holding it. So it's just where it's got a bit of movement to it. But yeah, overall, very nice loco. Very nice detail. Very nice weight. Overall, can't really complain. So I think the next thing we need to do is we need to put her on the track and see how she runs. Okay, so here we are back up on the layout once again, ready to put the loco on the track. So if we just grab her and we'll get her on. There's quite a lot of wheels to get lined up, but should be okay. We'll get the front bogie on first. There we go. Then get the driving wheels on and the tender. And there we go. I think we're all ready to go. Yes, we are. If we just move her back a little bit. So there we go, all ready to go. So coupling the loco and tender together, I believe I did mention it earlier, but it is quite fiddly to do. I would strongly recommend having a loco servicing cradle. I unfortunately don't have one. It's something I really do need to invest in, but just something to hold the loco upside down, and it's going to ensure that none of the details are going to get damaged. And then just very gently, first of all, use the drawbar to couple the two together and hold the two together. And then you can nice and gently put the plug from the loco into the little socket on the tender. I would recommend just having some sort of little screwdriver or something, so that once you've got the plug in place and it's basically ready to go in, just so you can then gently ease it in and press it into place. Because you don't want to obviously force it or anything or be rough in any way, because it is very delicate, so you just want to be really careful with it, that you don't damage it. But it's been done. It's not too bad to do, but definitely not the easiest thing in the world to do, because it is quite fiddly, especially considering that the wires between the loco and tender, whilst the length is okay in that they're not going to be seen very easily and they're not going to be dangling down and going to catch on anything, it does make coupling the two together a little bit fiddly, because there isn't an awful lot of play in the wires once it's all coupled together. So I thought I'd just mention that, so just be very careful. But once it's together, as you can see, it is all very nicely done, and then there's a nice sort of gap between the two as well. So it's quite closely coupled, so it's not unrealistic or anything. It is a very nice coupling, but certainly not the best design, I think. I believe Hornby do something a bit better now with more modern steam locomotives. But this design, it's not too bad, and we have seen worse, I think, from other manufacturers as well. But there we go, she's on the track, she's getting power. I've got a number already, but before we give her a wiggle, we'll try some of the sounds. So just grab her instructions, and we'll just flick her to the sound section. If I can remember where it is, there we go. So there we are. So might as well, first things first, is turn on the actual sort of idle sounds in the background. So we'll just turn those on. There we go. To be honest, I wouldn't say they're the best in the world. It doesn't sound quite as good, and it's certainly, I think we've definitely seen better from other locomotives in the past. It almost sounds, to be honest, like the speaker is faulty in a way, if you know what I mean. It sounds like quite just an echoey, sort of misty sound. I wouldn't really call it the idle sound for a steam locomotive, to be honest. I think we've definitely seen better. But it's okay, I suppose. The quality is okay. I just want to say the sound file itself here is the best in the world. But again, we've seen worse. So let's try the whistle on function 2. That's very good, definitely. Quite ear-piercing, actually. But yeah, very nice whistle. Function 3 is the coupler, so let's try that. Yeah, not too bad. Definitely does the job. It's I think quite a long coupling sound actually as well. But yeah, overall pretty good. Function 4 is another whistle. Yeah, very, very good. A nice short whistle. Function 5 is the injectors. That's a very ear-piercing sound, definitely, but still very, very good. Function 6 is shunting mode, so that's obviously not going to do anything to the sounds, it's more just the performance. Function 7 is the coal shoveling. Yeah, not too bad overall, I think. Oh, still going. I think this might even be the decoders playing the sound automatically, because that is one of the features with these older factory sound locos. They do just play random sounds every now and then. So you'll get coal shoveling as you just heard, or you might just get the injectors or some sort of blowdown sound, something like that. You'll just get a sound playing every now and then whilst the loco is stationary, or even sometimes when it's moving as well, which is quite nice. It's very, very good. Function 8 is the blowout, so let's try that. Yeah, it definitely does the job. Function 9, it just says valve, so let's see what that is. Oh, got the coal shoving again. That's not me, that is just the decoder doing it automatically. Let that finish before we play function 9. There we go, so now let's try the valve on function 9. Yeah, short and sweet, but does the job. Function 10 is another whistle, so it's another short whistle I think, so let's try that. Yeah, even shorter than the other one, not too bad. Function 11 is the wheel flange, or the flange squeal, so let's try that. Yeah, not too bad. Maybe a little bit quiet, but certainly not too bad overall. Oh, a temporary short for some reason. Not sure that was. You can see what I mean about the decoders playing random sounds, can't you? Every now and then you just get a random sound. So let's do the last function, which is function 12, which is the rail clank. Yeah, there we go. It sort of suddenly stops though, to be honest. That's a bit strange, probably not the best. But overall, not too bad. That's all it for the sound actually. So it's not the largest amount of sounds in the world, but certainly for this loco, and with how I suppose the value is with these locos, because they're quite old. Overall, definitely not too bad, I think. A decent selection of sounds, and they sound okay as well. I still think it's not the best sound file in the world that Hornby did for these older factory sound locos. But overall, certainly not too bad. But anyway, I think what we need to do now is get her running and see what she's like. So let's give her some power and get her going. Hopefully we're going forwards. No, we're definitely going backwards. Okay, there we go. And off she goes. Well, as you can see, she's running very well. Nice and smooth. She sounds pretty good. Got a coal shoving again. Yeah, overall, I can't really fault her. She runs very well. A very good mechanism inside this loco. As you can see, forming very nicely. Yeah, overall, she's great. She looks the part, sounds the part. Can't really ask for much better, to be honest. I still think the sound file could be a bit better than what it is. I've definitely heard better ones, especially from other Hornby factory locos, such as the Black 5, the Castle class, and indeed some of the diesels. Yeah, overall, she's okay. She's definitely adequate. Well, she's been running for a little while, and I think she's in desperate need of some coaches to haul. I think that'll definitely be a nice way to see what she can do. I'm sure she'll be able to handle some coaches very well, especially with those traction tyres. So I think we'll get some coaches on track, get her coupled up to them, and see how she handles them. Okay, so here we are. So she's now got some coaches coupled up to her. She's got 7 Batman Mark 1s coupled up behind her now. I'm sure she'll be able to handle them fine. Again, those traction tyres should give her some really good pulling power, and especially the weight of the loco as well, all that die-cast boiler and everything. I'm sure she'll be fine. So, God, I'm not going to be able to get through this without the coal shoveling playing, am I? God. Anyway, we'll ignore it and we'll get her running. So let's give her some power and see how she handles the coaches. No trouble whatsoever, as if they're not even there. But again, that's those traction tyres, so she is cheating a bit. But overall, oh, a bit of a struggle there. Come on, you can do it. Get her up to some speed, I'm sure she'll be fine. Yeah, fantastic. Well, I think you'll agree, this is one fantastic locomotive. Incredible detail, incredible performance. It's just fantastic. If you didn't have one of those traction tyres, well, I say one of those traction tyres, if you didn't have the traction tyres at all, this would be an absolutely top-notch locomotive. I suppose it would be nice if the sound was a bit better as well. But overall, all things considered, she's fantastic. A beautiful locomotive. Definitely recommend getting one of these if you can. If you model steam or the southern region, I would definitely consider that you get one of these. They're absolutely fantastic locomotives. Absolutely fantastic. Really don't know what to say about her. And now let's have some ratings for the Hornby Schools class with DCC sound. The detail on the locomotive, overall, I can't fault it. Despite how old this model is now, the detail all over the place, it's just amazing. It definitely matches the quality and the detail of a lot of more modern locomotives that we see today. It's just amazing, and I think the cab is definitely one of the main areas of attraction on the loco with the detail. It's just a beautiful cab, lots of colour, lots of details popping out at you. Really, really beautiful, and the rest of the loco is no exception. The lining on the boiler has been done really well. All of the delivery on the tender and the side of the cabs has all been very nicely applied. And you've got all other details all over the place. You've got nicely moulded details on the tender and the loco. You've got the separately fitted handrails down the sides. Everywhere you look, there's just details to catch your eye, and they've all been very nicely done. I can't see any blemishes anywhere, whether it be glue or paint. I just can't fault the detail at all. It's all been beautifully done. Overall, very, very nice indeed. The performance of the locomotive as well. Overall, I certainly can't fault it. The loco runs very, very well. Nice and smooth, nice and consistent. I just can't fault it, and she doesn't cut out at all either. Obviously, with all her wheels having pickups on them, you're definitely not going to see any issues with the performance on this loco, unless you end up getting one that has a dodgy motor or decoder or something. Overall, absolutely beautiful performance, maybe ever so slightly noisy, but again, usually, especially on DCC, that tends to be more down to the decoder, sometimes more than the Loco. I definitely can't see or hear any issues from the motor itself. There's no horrible noises coming from her. So I think the noise of the motor is more just down to the decoder, which you then tend to get on DCC sometimes anyway. But certainly overall, performance-wise, I can't fault her. She's a beautiful performer, hauls the coaches very, very well, and even if you pull her up to a freight train, I'm sure she'll handle that perfectly as well. Overall, really nice performance. The quality, however, on the Loco, I think this is where the Loco does fall down slightly. Those traction tyres, first of all, definitely are, I think, the main thing for the quality for me. For a Loco like this, that's as premium as it is, it just shouldn't have traction tyres on it, in my opinion. The Loco weighs quite a lot anyway, with her having that very nice die-cast spoiler, so why she needs traction tyres, I'm not too sure. Maybe she would struggle without them, I certainly don't know, and I'm certainly not going to try and find out at all either. But certainly for me, with a Loco like this, it's supposed to be premium, it shouldn't have traction tyres on it, I think. Traction tyres can be useful, especially on cheaper and older locomotives that maybe don't weigh as much, and certainly maybe won't be able to haul as much. But for me, on a Loco like this, they don't belong on it, and I don't think Hornby should have included them. Obviously your opinion may differ, but certainly for me, I just don't think the Loco should have had traction tyres fitted. So it is a bit of a shame that she has them, but I suppose on the other side of things, it means that she'll be able to definitely haul brakes of wagons and coaches without any issues. But quality-wise, certainly I think she does deserve to be marked down for them. Other things for me that I think just let the quality down ever so slightly, it's just a bit of the plasticness, I suppose, of some of the details. I think the large plastic reverse rod is definitely one of the main things for me. Whilst it looks okay, it's definitely very flimsy, and I think it could be quite easily damaged if you catch it at the wrong angle. And some of the tiny little details on the tender as well that protrude from the tender, they are very flimsy, and I think they'd be very easily damaged. So maybe it would have been better to make those out of metal. Certainly that reverser rod, I think, would have been very benefited if they'd made it out of metal. I doubt it would have really added much cost to the Loco. So overall, apart from those few little niggles, and I think the quality of the sound as well, just another tiny area I think that lets the Loco down is the quality of the sound file isn't quite as good as maybe as it could have been, and I've definitely heard better ones from other Hornby factory sound Locos of this age. Apart from those few little things, the quality overall everywhere else is not too bad. Overall, she's been very well put together. Again, very good quality mechanism, very nice die-cast spoiler. I'm definitely going to mention it quite a few times because it is, I think, quite rare to have a die-cast spoiler on a Loco of this age. Overall, definitely not the worst quality in the world. Overall, not too bad. The value for money, I think, was a bit of a tricky one for me. Certainly because I'm not entirely sure what the RRP for these was. I doubt it would have been too high. It might have even been less than probably what I paid for it. But overall, with the value for money for what I paid, the price was £185.99. I think that value is probably more of an 8 out of 10, maybe a 7, pushing it a bit too much, I think. I'd definitely say more of an 8 for the price that I paid. But I've definitely seen these a lot cheaper than this, probably more £150, £160. I think that's definitely more like it. It's definitely 10 out of 10 value for that. So I've sort of split the difference there and given it 9 out of 10. Overall, it's certainly not terrible value for money. You definitely get what you pay for the most part with what I paid. But I'm sure you'll probably be able to get these cheaper than that, than what I did. But overall, yeah, all things considered with the value, definitely not too bad at all. Overall, very, very happy. So that's an overall score of 9.25 out of 10. Very well deserving. It's a fantastic Loco. Just a tiny few little niggles here and there, but overall it's definitely a fantastic Loco. Definitely one of the best steam locomotives that I've seen and that I've got. I highly recommend it. If you want one, I definitely recommend getting one.